All right, we are live. Yay. Okay, thank you all for attending. And again, I will continue teaching. What I'm going to teach today is to give you some teaching between Gautama Buddha and Maitreya and help you better understand the incarnation of Maitreya. Yeah, it's not like when Buddha was incarnated. Yeah, Buddha was incarnated, but he was a bodhisattva. He was going to become a Buddha. Yeah, and his process was that he did not know. Yeah, he knew nothing. Yeah, and he was able to be deluded, for 30 years, and without any suspicion. A little, but not much. Yeah. So when it came to a certain cycle of time, he was impressed upon. Who impressed upon him was me, the actual Buddha. Yeah. There can be more than one Buddha at a given time when I'm helping to facilitate another Buddha. I'm the guy who does that. Yeah. All Buddhas. And there have been an enormous number of Buddhas, and I'm always the teacher to all Buddhas. Yeah. So that wasn't any different with Gautama Buddha. When he incarnated, he had to go through all these trials and processes and, wrong turns, left turn, right turn, oh, wow, okay, I'll do it this way. And slowly but surely he finds nature, he finds himself, he finds his ability to have self-awareness. He starts growing in that self-awareness. But his process was not going to be complete realization, unless I was in his presence. Yeah. So being in his presence is what made the difference. Yeah. Because that's what Buddha Maitreya does. Maitreya carries all the auspicious aspects and qualities and attributes that a Buddha can have. Yeah. So if he's going to become a Buddha, he has to come under my umbrella. Yeah. And he has to align to what's sitting on top of my head, which is a stupa. Yeah. And every time every one of these people die, they go in my stupa, on my head, because they're all emanations of me. And every one of them. Now, not a missing person in the lot. Yeah? None. Yeah. So it's difficult in that process to facilitate, on the earth, facilitate the process of these incarnations and manifestations and externalizations and have them turn out to benefit all of humanity. Because at the time, if you were a Buddhist, and a lot of times people are Buddhist and they find a way to a monastery and they enter into the school. Yeah, monasteries are a place where you change your clothes, and you hang out and meditate. Monasteries are a place where you study. Yeah, and you absorb yourself in the teachings of Buddha. Yeah, so it takes time. It takes a lot of time. In Tibetan Buddhism, I created a facilitating process by monasteries and their Kempo program or Geshe program. There are programs to give them the levels, that could be aspired to. Yeah. So as a lama or a monk, transcends to a lama, it takes many, many, many years, 20, 30 years before the person gets to that place. And now they're actually have gone through all the schools. They can make all the little relic kind of ceremonial offerings that's necessary. They can practice what's known as pith, which means that they're going to wear themselves down to a frazzle in process of offerings and making these offerings, whether it be a butter lamp or whether it be kneeling down on your knees and sticking your hands straight out, laying flat on the ground and praying, and then stand back up and repeat that 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 times. At Tsongkhapa, I repeated it 3,000,000 times. 3,000,000 times. I did it so much that I wore down the rock that I did it on, and you can't walk over that rock. You'll fall into it, because that's how much I wore down that rock. It's a big, like, hole. Yeah, and that's where my knees went. Yeah, that's where my body slid, as I made my prostrations. So I'm a very committed individual, and there's never going to be a Buddha unless there is a person who is this way. And I'm the only one this way, and I don't expect others to be this way. I'm going to be 1,000,000 times more than what you can ever try and pull off with your little finger. But that's the reality of Buddha. Buddha has all these aspiring qualities, all these virtues, and all this strength, and all this courage, and all this patience, and all of this stuff that you don't have, but you're going to get, because the Buddha blesses people by reincarnating, staying on the planet in a reincarnated state, and helping in the process. But what is the help? Maitreya is known as the protector. He's known as the friend, the kind one, the friend, But he's the protector. That's who he is. He's known as the protector. If you study Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, even Gautama Buddha, acknowledge the reality of the coming Buddha, which would be Maitreya, to be the one in which would be the Messiah, and would save everybody, because that auspicious envelope that Maitreya is in carries everybody from hell through all the realms, all the way up to Maitreya. And Maitreya is the beginning and the end. So you don't have to go through other teachers anymore. Where before you would have to go through many, many teachers before you get to the higher ranking aspects of a greater teacher. But Maitreya is the one that burns all that up. Because it's very slow. The students aren't that good. The teachers aren't that profound. You get people like the Dalai Lama, who's a good student, but he's not a teacher. You get a person like the Pope, who's okay student, but he's a terrible teacher, a terrible leader, a terrible person with no compassion, no empathy for little children, of all things, you would think. He'd quit his job over the situation at hand, be so embarrassed, so absolutely embarrassed, if he had a heart, if he had a soul. So you're in this process to where you're not protected. And evil is what you're not protected from. You don't know what evil's about. Evil can be laziness, evil can be jealousy, evil can be every living human being. And the bugs, and the animals, everything. Just permeating with it, because it's not blessed. It doesn't carry the Dharma. You're not doing karma yoga, so how the hell is anything going to get blessed? If you complain about this or that, you've just erased your entire day of karma yoga. You erased it with your mouth. So lazy, is the process. Is not a practitioner in reality yet. That's why it's so important for me to be on this earth, and helping to move us into this process where I can give teachings, but my teachings are here to dispel glamour. You think it may be one way, you may think it be another way, but I'm going to come back out and teach again, and you're going to realize that it is not the way you think it is. And it is nowhere near done. And it's very far from being even started. And the process is that you don't know who Maitreya is. I help you with Jesus, I help you with Gautama Buddha, I help you with Tsongkhapa, but most of you aren't Buddhists, so that's like an empty subject. Some of you might be Christians, but you're brainwashed in a process of what Christianity is. You think it's the Bible and not Jesus Christ. It's Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ proved that when he went to the church and spoke for the first time, and they asked questions. He didn't answer them. He said them. He said them. He was only 9 years old, And he said the answers because he was the answer. He's the one they're talking about. Whether it be a prophecy or it be Abraham's energy that moved through him to stop killing children, yeah, or the influence of Adam and Eve and telling them that was wrong. That was Jesus. You know? It was Jesus who put the breath into Adam. It was Jesus that resurrected him. It was Jesus that made him whole. It was Jesus that designated a peaceful paradise area that would be a sanctuary that evil cannot cross, as long as you don't go outside this bound. Yeah? And it's just rules and regulations that are necessary. This world is not what you think it is. Yeah? For the Adam and Eve process, they were completely oblivious to the fall of the angels in the process of God. Yeah? Only in the working out of a plan were they involved. After the beginning of the plan, but not in the making of creation. Jesus was involved in that. Only Jesus. Only Jesus. Only Jesus. Yeah? And that's Maitreya. Yeah? And that's what this stupa is about. The stupa means the influence where God creates spirituality. Not form, not people, not anything. Just God saying there's going to be spirituality. There's going to be love. And these are the things that are going to happen. And this is why. And I'm going to inaugurate it in the Buddha field. So you got to go there. You got to go up there. You got to get in there before you'll find any answers whatsoever. Because everything is, below that, everything is deceptive. And it could all, nuclear bomb, whatever, could all flip any second. Yeah? Yeah. And the biggest difficulty is that, well, in Gautama's case, it was his students, every time he spoke, he would have to go through the astral body, go through the solar plex of the student. And the student had already made commitments with somebody else, with themselves. Yeah, this is what I think is going on. This is why I think this is happening. This is the person I think is this way. This is that, Or by gossip of listening to somebody else and have that person then persuade them to think in this way or do that or do this. It's all about having no relationship with the Creator. Yeah, the Creator, not people, places, and things, but the Creator. Yeah, in the teachings of Gautama Buddha, he talks about Maitreya, and he says it's going to be really hard for everybody, because Maitreya absolutely will not put up with attachment. He won't deal with it. He will not put up with it. Clinging on to things, people, places, and things. Clinging on to it. Only evil spirit causes that. Only evil spirit. Yeah? The other side is sharing. Caring. Giving. Loving. Yeah? Being kind. Being generous. Being fortunate. Saving those who are misfortunate. Sharing. Caring. Yeah? But if that ain't happening, then there's jealousy, there's enviousness, there's gossip, there's delusions of things happening in a negative way because the person says it, makes it up. You can go through the whole day and check off things that are lies after lie after lie after lie. All you got to do is just sit and wait through it. Sit there, keep watching. Ask a question. Go beyond the lie. Then you find out, well, that's not at all what's going on. That's not at all the situation. This is the situation. Oh, sorry. Yeah. People die because of this shit. Yeah. People lose their soul because of this shit. Yeah. And that's the influence of Maitreya. Maitreya cannot be other than what a Buddha is. Yeah? And a Buddha isn't what you think it is. A Buddha is a real human being. It's the real human being, the first manifested human being, pure, understanding, bringing the Buddha field, which would be like the monad and the soul and the personality, into manifestation. That would be a person, according to God. And when God made me, that's the way it was done. Yeah. And it was manifested that way as co-creator. Yeah. Little Yahweh kind of thing. Yeah. And that relationship is a relationship of helping people dispel the glamours that keeps them from having a real true relationship with the teacher at hand. Yeah. Because whether it's the time of Jesus, every single disciple is going, I don't know, kind of bored. Doesn't really move me. I don't know, I question him. Why do you think he goes away and he doesn't bring us with him? Why does he do that? He doesn't even say he's going away. He just goes away. Read the Bible. I complained all the time. About every 60, 80, 90 days, I had to go off, go meditate. They get all freaked out because I go heal people, with them watching, And I'd walk away so sick, so drained. People would have to help me walk. I couldn't eat. I would throw up. I'd purge. But everybody else got health. Mental clarity, their eyesight back. They were able to walk and all kinds of things. But I had to take it on. I had to absorb it and pass it into my purity, where it will not sit. No matter who's saying shit to me, it will not stick. I am detached. That's Buddha. Yeah? You can be the devil, the prettiest goddamn thing on planet Earth, and I am detached. And that's where your Savior's going to help you out. Because you're not detached. You think things have sparkle and interest and shit, And it only has reason. It only has purpose. Yeah? It's not God in the machine or anything. It's a revelation. It's beautiful. But you can't carry on like this. Yeah? If you carry on like that, you're absorbing the souls of others. Yeah? And it doesn't really affect me that much, but it will create a horrendous outcome for humanity. Yeah? What I'm doing is trying to awaken people to that reality. That this is the forces that are coming up. Yeah? There's no way Trump believed that he would be in this boat that he's in right now. He thought he'd be president of the United States. Yeah? And now he's fixing all the voting systems because he's hoping he's going to be voted in again in 2024. And by erasing black people and poor people and other people out of the voting system, he has a better chance of winning. Because these are biased assholes that will push through bills to keep other people not having rights. Because they live in a gossip system. And everybody's like that. Big, small. Yeah? It's the same. And the only way it can be cut off is if individuals choose to practice the Dharma. You have to choose to practice the Dharma. You have to choose. Yeah? You may have something brought to you and you go, oh, that's not right. And you can either go, that's not right, and then come into all kinds of practices as to how to be so intellectual and clear about how that's not right. But that's not helping anybody. That's just spouting off your fame and your delusion and your grandiose bullshit. It just is what it is. It is like that. Yeah? And it doesn't matter the situation. We got it all the way to the president, all the way to the people in Congress, all the way to the Pope, all the way to the Dalai Lama, all through the lamas, all through the people, all through everything. Yeah? And it's simply, people cannot see outside their own shit. because they're making up so much shit every day. Yeah, they're not having a bad day, but they make it up. So that all of a sudden now they have a bad day. And they could have blessings and Buddha and Jesus and the process of revelation and being saved. But they have to be a practitioner in order not to erase the dispelling of their karma. Yeah? Because if you don't practice karma yoga, at least there are 3 forms of yoga you must practice. You know? The highest form is where you literally take the teacher in your heart. And it's not a fanatic thing or anything like that. But you literally see it in your heart, you see it in everybody else's heart, you see it in the dog's heart, you see it in the tree, you see it in everything. And you can't say those words. You can't say those words. You can only help fix it. And you're not the kind of person that will go, oh, I can't. Well, great. Why don't you just stick, some terrible, horrible event up in front of people and make them fix it, when you're the one who has the opportunity to fix. Everybody gets their opportunities to do whatever they can to make things better for other people. Not just for themselves, but for other people. Yeah? And it's not by, getting people food or getting people this and that, but it's by controlling, monitoring, policing your bullshit, your reactions, your actions, your emotions, your feelings, all those things that creep up. They come out of your lower body, out of your emotional body, out of your mental body, and they go into your personality. And that becomes everybody else's astral body. Yeah? And everybody's merged like that in astral body. So if we don't take the time personally, individually, to save ourselves from this horrible demon that we manifest into our daily actions, daily thoughts, daily feelings, daily energies. If we don't take the time to go, I don't believe that. That's not true. And I'm not going to put anything into it. I'm going to let it go. It's not my responsibility to do that. I'm going to trust that it's going to be worked out. And I'm not going to be the asshole demon who says, well, I bet nobody even cares. Because that's a spellbinder. And you got them amongst you. And that's the last thing that's got to go. It's like taking the thorn out of your side. You don't even know it's there. Because it's in somebody else. Putting spells down. Yeah? And those, in everybody's case, they have to be stopped. No matter what it is. I have this opportunity, this situation I got to do, but it's going to be very hard. Yeah. And you start going through the list of, how hard that's going to be. Don't do that. Don't do that. Practice, 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 practice. It's like martial art. You will get weak. You will stumble. You will say stupid things. You will gossip in your mind. Yeah? You will project gossip into other people. And they will project back to you things you want to know, but they won't tell you. Because you're in a gossip mind. And a gossip mind doesn't allow balance to come at you. And if you're above people, what happens to the people below you? And then, who's to blame here? Nobody. It's the evil that exists, and we must fight against it. We have to practice. We have to practice. We have to become detached. And it's not this linear bullshit demon talk. Well, then I guess I can't be close to anybody. Why don't you bring Lucifer in here and say that? Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? Those forms of talk are forms of anti-hierarchy, anti-God, anti-principles, anti-virtue seen in other people, felt in other people. It's the opposite. Vices felt in other people, a waste of people not being able to do the things you expect. Yeah? And that happens in all of everything. Yeah? So the only way around this thing is our practice, our ability to practice. And it's not an easy practice. because you gotta stand up for what you know. And to know something, you have to study. Yeah, so I give classes, I give these classes, and I do meditations, and I give the pujas, So you listen, you get the pujas, right? Imagine, those pujas are written words that I wrote, that I had to say in order to get you those pujas, right? So you have to do the same thing. You can't think this is the Beatles. Oh, la, la, la. You can't just listen. It's got a good beat, calms me down, makes me feel better. You have to listen to every word. You have to listen, and you have to, if you don't understand it, you have to turn to something, look it up, look up every word until you fully understand. And then you'll begin, just like in the puja books. It's the same thing, people, except that I'm not handing you puja books. I'm handing you the teacher who wrote the book, who's saying it. And you don't sit there repeating what I'm saying. You sit there listening to what I'm saying every single time. Every single time. And it's always a revelation in the process, because you receive it in your emotional body, you receive it in your lower mind because you're busy that day, you got somebody you're angry at, you got a confusing situation over here. So it completely interprets differently. Completely interprets differently. Through you. So it's necessary for you to listen to those pujas and try and bring them into your focus, because it allows you to be in your Dharma, just like you would be in the monastery. Can you text Lynn and let no call? So call her, would you? Okay. So it is really difficult for everybody to get through any of this process. There you go. There. So it's just a matter of being able to be in the practice. And if you're going to be Buddhist under my studentry, and you like the pujas, you like the etheric weavers, you like the fact that I'm Jesus, and all that, you like the way I teach, all that, But Jesus Christ, people, it's much bigger than that. It's much bigger than that. You need your souls. And this isn't working out for you. Because you have to apply it. There's no such thing as I'm not good enough. I haven't prepared myself in order to try practicing these heavy-duty practitioner teachings, when they're really nothing at all. A baby pulls this shit off. It's common energy. It's saying no to evil. It's saying no to you harming someone. You become self-realized over the fact that the world changes because you stopped. And that's beneficial. That's how people attain bodhicitta. And everybody would like to think, well, at least by now I've got bodhicitta. But unless you're a practitioner, I'm sorry, you do not. Because you're still having these moments, these thoughts. And it's a deluge of energies that comes into this, into this world, let alone, into me, because, I take students, but I take very few students, for a reason. Because I really don't want, all that shit, that comes with it, And it's not because people aren't prepared. It's just because there is a such thing as Dharma. And if people are moved to be here, then that's part of the Dharma. And I'm the one who's in charge of that, So I always flow with that, But if there's obvious situations, then it's obvious that that's not right. And things have to be changed. Certain things have to be changed. And that's what practitioners are about. Those are the only things that have to be changed, not other things. You don't have to move. You don't have to change your name. You don't have to go through anything. All you got to do is be good and know the difference. Be a practitioner. Yeah. And don't take the teachings, as though they're just background music. They're not. If you're not spending at least, it's on all the time, and you should at least, like sit down and go, I'm going to listen to this track, and then listen to it, go, wow, that's really good, yeah. Then go around, and when it comes back around, listen to it again, see whether or not you really get it, because there's a reason why you're choosing to listen to that track. There's all these tracks being played, So I put out so many things, so many teachings that can get you through the place where you are in hell as a hell being. I have teachings for that. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't disqualify you from having a soul or getting a soul or becoming a bodhisattva. Doesn't, But I'm taking care of it. If you're that situation and you don't know whether or not you are, because it's all a matter of relationships. If you're in a sixth-ray relationship where people require devotion, ideologies to me, get out of it. Get out of it. If you're in a deluded scenario where you know that you're constantly being pulled down and brought into thoughts that you shouldn't be brought into, put yourself in meditation. Not just soul therapy, but meditation. Shut your mind down. Do that practice. The pujas are there to help you initiate the ability to sit and listen to think spiritual thoughts and receive pujas. But it's to help you consider becoming a meditator. When you got a problem, what do? You meditate. You're a freaking Buddhist. But what happens is that you freak out instead of meditating, and you go down the tunnel, and you start diagnosing, and conjuring up all kinds of fears that come into what you're saying, how you're feeling, all these things that go on, and they're self, process. It's just a process. It's nothing. It's just a process. This whole thing, the whole thing around attachment to something, anything whatsoever, it will always be a process until we learn to let go. It'll always be a process. And we're going to turn around and look at everybody who's suffering, and they're suffering. Why? Because they're attached. They're attached to the past. They're attached to something. Even people homeless are attached to being homeless. And the only way you can help with that, is about you being a practitioner. So if you do help anybody in any time, the blessings of Buddha are flowing through you, rather than these chaotic things that come. Because the fourth ray is at the base center, and the fourth ray is who Buddha is. He is earth. He is the earth mother. He holds three aspects over the earth as a feminine aspect, three feminine aspects. And he puts co-creative energy into three masculine aspects that go into the earth. These all are part of his form. Compassion, empathy, caring, sharing, all of those are things blended together as a human being, male, female. But it gives what is the essence of father? What is the essence of mother? You're only going to get a delusion of grandeur when you're trying to figure out, what is mother? What is father? But if the actual entity who mother, father is Christ, and that this is, Adam's earth, not Mother Earth, and that the nature aspect of everything is Buddha nature, and that Buddha nature is a blending together of chakras that go like that. They blend together, the lower chakras to the higher chakras, lower aspects of femininity, the higher aspects of masculinity, they blend together. Yeah, it's Kundalini. And we don't get Kundalini unless that happens. Yeah, it's just an illusion. You go, oh, I'm super spiritual. I had a deja vu. I seen my past life. I've talked to Jesus in a dream. All this kind of stuff. But that, in my world, what's real is concrete, right there in front of your face. Change. The change in the world. Like us having electric cars and all the things that go on in the world. Those are coming from my calm mind, not being attached to the world that we're in. Ready and willing to let go and recreate, rebuild with everything that we've got, using everything we already have and just put it into right action. Goodwill in action. But that is what Christ does. It's not what other people do. It's not what goes on in the formula of humanity. It takes practitioners to bring about that energy. So imagine here, I got this book that I got when I went to India. I've been to India a lot of times, but one of the times that I went to India, one of the swamis there came up when I was at the pyramid. And I'm giving these teachings at the pyramid, and everybody's channeling. There's more demons in that room than I've ever been in before. I got so sick, it was beyond belief. Tara couldn't even go to India because of what was going on in that pyramid. It was so evil. Evil, evil, evil on every level. As Buddha goes around, they paint pictures of evil. That's it. That's it there. Yeah, and it has all the evil complements of demons, like Bhagwan, Sai Baba. They're like, coming right out of that pyramid. And they're all asking for them to reincarnate and come and teach when they get to be kids. Bringing demons back onto the earth, using the temple of earth to bring demons into the temple and manifest them into humanity. So that it was an enormous process of evil that was in that place. And what I did was that I came and offered them, I could change this pyramid, because right now it's not a blessed pyramid and anything can happen in this pyramid. It's only an object. It's not blessed. It's not vibrating. It has to vibrate because the Christ has to anoint it, to make it a vibrational spiritual pyramid. And it's not that way. It's channeling into it, and it's actually turning the opposite direction. So the pyramid has an octahedron in it. It has a pyramid below and a pyramid above. And this is in the process of creation. We set this up so we can tell the difference between false masters, false periods of time, psychic energies that are manifesting, and it will show up in the pyramid. The vortex will come from below in the pyramid rather than from above, coming down. The vortex will start from below and work its way up into manifestation at the base of the pyramid and come in to destroy the king and the queen and the influences that are in heaven. And this is all part of the ceremonial magic. And pyramids were used for that. You can see the Great Pyramid, the top of the capstone was taken off so that all the energy would come from the below the pyramid that is face downward. And it would then spiral up. And now we look around the world and we have bombs and everything. And that is the central location of probably the first nuclear war to happen since the last nuclear war. Will be in that location. From Iran, Syria, Egypt, and Israel. They're the biggest proponents, other than North Korea, that wants to build a nuclear bomb and use it. So the forces that are manifested in black magic, you can see it in Satanism. They take symbols of the Christ, turn it upside down. They take symbols and names and words and say them backwards. All these things are done in order to create that octahedron from below to vibrate and oversee the process. And this is lower nature, the mother aspect. Not mother good, mother bad. There is a nature inside of people that's evil. Yeah, and that's a lower nature. Yeah, so it comes from that kind of reality, and it sparks up into disciples. It doesn't affect modern man or civilization. It affects people who are seeking God, and it turns them into fanatics. You know, and if they really get into it, then all of a sudden they become a cult leader, and they're the leader of a new group or a new church or a new kind of coven. Yeah, and they're all actually getting it from this lower vibration that's spinning backwards, coming out of the earth, of all things, all the imperil that we push into the earth, the bad things we say to each other, the jealousy, the enviousness, the war, the anger, the little suspicions. Can you imagine? Take one person, just think of yourself. In one day, how much might have you thought a negative thought, belittled another person, find fault in somebody, yeah? All these things, just think, wow, did that go on for an hour? Did that go on all day? Is that still going on? Yeah? And this is a churning of a pulsing of energy that collectively everybody else is doing the same thing. Because we don't have any free will. Yeah? We think that we should have will over what God wants us to do, having free will. But actually, we are here to do what God wants us to do. That is our free will. Yeah? But we're not under that. We're under gossip. Little thoughts, starting out low, working their way up into the solar plex, making their way to the throat center where evil speaks and thinks and acts and puts spells out. And then you gotta fight it off. Somehow you've got to clean it up. And the only thing you got, folks, is karma yoga. Yeah, the only thing you got. That means, airplane crashes, car accidents, karma. If we don't do karma yoga, shit happens, and there are no accidents. There is no accidental disease. There is no accidental early death. Yeah. Yeah. And yet we're in the middle of a pandemic. There is no accidents. This is just all jealousy, enviousness. It's just a place where there is a really bad, jealous, envious president, and then there's gazillions of people who are the same, who are just having their little bullshit thought forms, manifesting into a disease, dis-ease. And it turns rampant. It turns rampant into a process of a pandemic or, catastrophic, earthquake or, it's hard to imagine all that is that we can change. And it's just there. And the only way we can change it is by being practitioners. And it's really difficult. It's really difficult. Any of you that's been with me all this time, I mean, I've been teaching since I was openly teaching when I turned 40 years old, when I turned 40. Yeah. And I was a teacher when I was a little kid. I had masters coming to me so that they could receive teachings from me. They wanted me to just get on the plane and start talking and ask me questions. Get me into a class so we can all look over the books. And I can interpret everything, explain everything, and have a great day teaching. Because to me, that's nature. That's nature. Yeah, that's my karma yoga, and all my other yogas. Yeah, is my practice. Yeah, and that's who Buddha Maitreya is. He cannot get out of any of that. There is no aspect of it, and that becomes a provider of protection. Yeah, and the only way if you take refuge, yeah, that means that you're not going to be you anymore. Yeah, you're going to put Buddha first. You're going to try hard. When difficulty comes, you're going to do what Buddha says: meditate, take essences. Watch your diet. Watch your mind. Yeah. Watch your focus. Yeah. Do not blame yourself for bad things. Do not think of yourself as a bad person. Don't think that you're the cause of all things bad on earth. Because the evil side will get you to think that kind of shit. And if there was a gun around, you'd shoot yourself. That's how bad they are. And you can get caught up in it. And we're losing people left and right because of this shit. Dharma practice is the easiest thing on earth. You're not joining a church. You're taking responsibility for your actions, for your thoughts, for your emotions. You're attached to those things. You are. It's just like beating a drum. Okay, I'm still here. It's just what it is. It's part of life, is suffering. You know? But that's not the way for us to live. We don't have to go that way. Yeah? Because many people who cut themselves, scratch themselves, go through all kinds of actions in order to go through more suffering than what they believe they should. And that's a psychological thing. They can't help it. They just do it. They throw up. They do shit. You know? And so many people are out there doing that. And if you become a practitioner, you will help me protect them. Help them raise themselves up into a whole other way of dealing with this hardship. Rather than going down that left-hand path and using their intellect and using their channeled means. People have a tendency to get on the phone and look for shit that identifies the negativity and read about it. Yeah? That's like a megaphone for hell. You know? That is not Dharma practice. Dharma practice is where you struggle to look for the positive and seek the little things and stick to that. You know? Like I tell people, fasting is good, and, eating meat is better than, eating a lot of vegetables and all the carbs and everything else that we're doing. And I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, and, I haven't really got the time to write all these books to explain it to you, and they're out there. There are people, doctors and psychologists and nutritionists and others who are doing these experiments in their own life. Yeah? So if you just study and look into it and look for the positive, yeah? Don't, if you see one up there and says, what are the bad things about the carnivore diet? You don't click that. Yeah? Just because your little evil devil inside you is interested. Start practicing. You don't have to listen to that devil. The devil is already in the video. You don't need to do that kind of tantra. It's a different world. Give people your love. Yeah? Do that kind of tantra. There's black tantra, there's white tantra. Give people your love. And the only way you do that is by being detached. The other side is that you're jealous, you're envious, you're attached, you want that person, they're more than anything you've ever wanted before. All these kind of shit things go on, and that's just this process of mind and emotion and all this crap. Whereas a practitioner, we have to come to our own truth, and that life is provided for. Provided for. Holy shit. So once you practice long enough, you realize that life is provided for, and nothing is yours. Nothing is yours. If you're around me, I live in a monastery, but I don't live in a mansion in a monastery. I live in a small, not even a one-room apartment. Whatever they call a studio, I guess. This thing is small. The bed, the kitchen, the living room is all one room. Yeah. And then there's this other little room, which we call a bathroom and closets, and that's not small. That we're not thinking, oh, we need more, This is not enough, It's not. It's just what it is. I'm not attached to it. But when I do something, when I make something, I make it for what it's going to be, not for me, but for everybody. If I get a boat, it's for everybody. If I get a car, it's for everybody. If I get a truck, it's for everybody. Whatever comes my way you'll find out that it's actually shared. Yeah, and it's not, I'm not held on to it. None of it. Yeah. So being a practitioner is the one way that you can change your karmic indebtedness. Yeah. Imagine that we go through this process, and we have what we have in the world. We have Trump, and we have all the things. We have the Dalai Lama ruining the lives of all the people who believed in the Tsongkhapa and the protector of Tsongkhapa, Dorje Chungden, and the lineage of Tsongkhapa, and the head of that lineage was the Dalai Lama, and he literally cursed it. Literally cursed it. Yeah? That's a terrible thing, and no one in Tibet expected it. No one in Tibet could have done anything to deal with it. Nobody. Not anybody but me. Yeah? And I was the only one to stand up and say, this asshole killed me in the past, and he's doing it again, and he's turning you all against me. And this is ridiculous. And you don't even know who he is. And I even said that when I went to Tibet and gave my first teaching. My first teaching is say that your problem is the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama is not the Dalai Lama. He's Genghis Khan, reincarnated. He took the position of Dalai Lama by killing Tsongkhapa, the reincarnation, in the name of Sonom Gyatso. Yeah. And that's, if you study this shit and listen to what I'm saying, even write it down and check it out, you'll find enormous teachings. Yeah. But these teachings are in the practice. It's part of karma yoga. My giving teachings like this is my practice of karma yoga. I'm not attached to what the Dalai Lama says or anybody says, because I can't hear it. I'm not feeling it. It's not what I get. So since I do this as a practitioner, and this is the only saving grace you'll all ever get, is the ability to you have your relationship with God. And not disciples of God, but God. God's not interested in disciples as much as God is interested in you knowing God. And the only reason Jesus is in this is because he's God. He's the incarnation of the same influence that comes in from God. So there's not a separate vehicle of, like Buddhism, humanity, Christianity, soul, all of that. It all has to be healed in one process. A process. Not a religion, but a process. And to get through that process, you have to receive the teachings that evil exists even in you. And it's subtle. So subtle. And it's channeling. And you have to stand up. You have to be a warrior. You have to be strong. You have to use your heart, not your solar plex. Because your solar plex just makes you scared and emotional, and then all of a sudden you're under their influence. And you're thinking the same way they want you to think. And you have no freedom. And you're being used, and sooner or later you're going to feel bad about that. You're going to think you did it because it came out of your mouth, out of your emotions. And it's not you in any shape or form. I see everybody in another place. Everybody in another place. Not in the place that we're at, but in another place. When you've received, and you've transcended, and the earth is fine, and we're all good, we're hundreds of years from now, and you're all back, And I'll still be sitting here looking just like this in this building, talking just like I do, because I'm not attached to some delusionary change or some expected outcome of something. I'm not attached. I'm in the Dharma, practicing the Dharma. And I know that it will fulfill everybody's sentient body. It will save everybody because you're practicing the Dharma. I'll show you this. This is a... This is just something I wrote about can read this. Although Maitreya realized Buddhahood before Sakyamuni as his guru and held him in highest esteem, one way portraying Maitreya shows him adorned with a stupa on his crown of his head. The stupa symbolizes Sakyamuni and its position on Maitreya, demonstrating supreme respect. Yeah? Even though, the reality is that Maitreya had realized Buddhahood way before there ever was a Sakyamuni. Yeah? But not being attached allows everything to be as it is. Yeah? Because it's God's plan, not your expectations or anything like that. You have to be a practitioner. And in that process, I could, as Maitreya, stand and listen to Sakyamuni talk and speak to Ananda and speak to me and speak to his students, And I would say, here's what I would say. I'll read to you, because this is a book that is the most ancient script that comes from Buddha. Literally, the script that comes from Buddha. It was written by Ananda. That's pretty clear. That's right there, at the time of his life and after he died. So it was within the same life cycle, not 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, but within the same life cycle. So this information that I'm going to share was at that time. Yeah. So it's not even the kind of stuff you get out of Tibet. Yeah. This is really more ancient, without interpretations from some gurus. Yeah. This is just between Gautama Buddha, Sakyamuni, Ananda, and Maitreya. Yeah. So here's here's something that Sakyamuni said to Maitreya. The Buddha said to Bodhisattva Maitreya and to his devas and humans, the virtue and wisdom of the Shvarkas and the Bodhisattvas in the land of Amatus are indescribable. That land is sublime, blissful, serene, and pure. Why do you not diligently practice good, reflect on the naturalness of the way, and realize that it is above all discriminations and is boundlessly pervasive? You should each make a great effort to attain it, strive to escape from samsara, and be born in the land of peace and provision. Then the cause of the 5 evil realms having been destroyed, they will naturally cease to be, and so you will progress unhindered in your pursuit of the way. The Pure Land is easy to reach, but very few actually go there. It rejects nobody, but naturally and unfailingly attracts beings. Why do you not abandon worldly matters and strive to enter the way? If you do, you will obtain an infinite long life and one of limitless bliss. People of the world, being weak in virtue, engage in strife over matters which are not urgent. In the midst of an abject weakness and extreme afflictions, they painstakingly toil for their living. Whether noble or corrupt, rich or poor, young or old, male or female, all people worry about wealth and prosperity. In this, there is no difference between rich and the poor. Both have their anxieties, groaning in dejection and sorrow. They pile up thoughts of anguish. Driven by inner urges, they run wildly in all directions, and they have no time for peace and rest. For example, if they own fields, they are concerned about them. If they have house, they worry about them. They are also anxious about their 6 kinds of domestic animals, such as cows or horses, and about their male and female servants, and money and wealth and clothes and food and furnishings. With deepening troubles, they sigh repeatedly, and anxiety increasingly torments and terrifies them. Sudden misfortune may befall them. All their possessions may be destroyed by fire, swept away by floods, plundered by robbers, or seized by adversaries or creditors. Then gnawing grief afflicts them, and incessant troubles their heart. Anger seizes their mind, keeps them in constant agitation. Increasingly tightened, the grip hardens their hearts and never leaves them. When their lives end in such agonizing conditions, they must leave everybody and everything behind. Even nobles and men of wealth have these worries. With much anxiety and fear, they endure such tribulations, breaking out in cold sweat or fevers. They suffer unremitting pain. The poor and the underprivileged are constantly destitute. If, for example, they have no fields, they are unhappy and they want them. If they have no houses, they are unhappy and they want them. If they have none of the 6 kinds of domestic animals, such as cows, horses, or any of the male or female servants, they are constantly possessed by it. Why do they not abandon all world involvements and strive, while they are strong and healthy, to pursue the good and diligently seek the deliverance from samsara? If they do, they will be able to attain definite, infinite life. Why do they not seek this way? What is there in the world that should be longed for? What pleasure is there that should be sought after? Thus people of the world do not believe in pursuing good and receiving reward, or in practicing the way and attaining enlightenment. Neither do they believe in transmigration and retribution of evil acts, or reward of good ones, such as obtained by merit and by helping others. Believing that these do not exist, they totally reject such view. Further, by so doing, they cling to their own views more tenaciously. Later generations learn from previous ones to act likewise. Fathers perpetuating their wrong views pass them on to their children, since parents and grandparents from the beginning did not do good deeds. They were ignorant of the way, committed foolish acts, and were benighted, insensitive, and callous. Their descendants are now unable to realize the truth of birth and death and the law of karma. There is no one to tell them about this. Nobody seeks to know the cause of fortune or misfortune, happiness and misery, although these states result from such acts. The reality of birth and death is such that the sorrow of parting is mutually felt by all generations. A father cries over the death of his children. Children cry over their death of their father. Brothers, sisters, husbands, and wives mourn each other's death. According to the basic law of impermanence, whether death will occur in order of seniority or in the reverse is unpredictable. All things must pass. Nothing stays forever. Few believe this, even if someone teaches and exhorts them. And so the stream of birth and death continuously is everlastingly a pain. Because they are stupid and callous, such people do not accept the teachings of Buddha. They lack forethought and only wish to satisfy their own desires. They are deluded by their passionate attachments, unaware of the way, misguided and trapped by anger and anonymity, and intent on gaining wealth and gratifying their carnal desires like wolves. And so unable to follow the way, they are again subject to suffering the evil realms in an endless cycle of birth and death. How miserable and pitiful that is. In this same family, When one of the parents, children's brothers, sisters, husbands, or wife dies, those suffering mourn over the loss, and their attachment to the deceased persists. Deep sorrow fills their hearts, and grief-stricken, they mourn. They think of the departed. Days pass and years go by, but their distress goes on. Even if someone teaches them the way, their minds are not awakened. Brooding over fond memories of the dead, they cannot rid themselves of the attachment. Being ignorant, inert, and illusion-bound, they are unable to think deeply, to keep their self-composure, to practice the way with diligence, and to disassociate themselves from worldly matters. As they wander here and there, they come to their end and die before entering on the way. Then, what can be done? Because they are spiritually defiled, deeply troubled, and confused, people indulge their passions. Hence, many are ignorant of the way, and few realize it. Everyone is restlessly busy, having nothing upon which to rely. Whether moral or corrupt, or high or low rank, rich or poor, noble or base, all are preoccupied with their own work. They entertain venomous thoughts, creating widespread and dismal atmosphere and malevolence. Subversive activities are planned, contrary to the universal law and the wishes of the people. Injustice and vice inevitably follow and are allowed to run their course unchecked until evil karma accumulates to the limit. Before they expect their lives to end, people meet sudden death and fall into evil realms, where they will suffer excruciating torments for many lives. They will not be able to escape for many thousands and thousands of kalpas. How indescribably painful and how pitiful this is. Buddha said to Bodhisattva Maitreya and the Devas and all the humans, I have told you the truth about people of the world, such being their mode of life. They are unable to enter on the way. Therefore, you should think deeply and try to avoid various evil acts. Choose the good and diligently practice it. A life of addiction to desire or a life of pomp and pageantry cannot last long. All must part. There is nothing you could truly enjoy, since you have encountered a Buddha in this world. You should assiduously practice the way. Anyone who sincerely desires birth in the land of peace and bliss is able to attain purity of wisdom, supremacy in virtue. You should not allow the urges of passion break the precepts or fall behind others in the practice of the way. If you have doubts and are not clear about my teachings, ask me, the Buddha, about anything. I shall explain it to you. The Bodhisattva Maitreya prostrated himself on the ground before Buddha. Your Majesty, glory, O Buddha, is awe-inspiring, and your exposition is most pleasing to me. Having heard your teachings, I feel deeply that people of the world are just as you have described. Your compassionate revelation of the Great Way has opened our eyes and ears, awakening us to emancipation. Those who have heard your teachings, and all filled with joy, devas, humans, lesser beings, including even those that crawl, have all been blessed by your compassionate guidance, and have thereby attained deliverance from suffering and affliction. The Buddha's admonition is indeed profound and appropriate, and his wisdom clearly surveys things in the 8 quarters, above and below, penetrating all the past, present, and future. Our emancipation in the present life is entirely due to the Buddha's perseverance and painstaking efforts in his former lives when he was seeking the way. His benevolence covers the whole world, and the extent of his merit is majestic and glorious. His light penetrates to the utmost ends of space and guides people to nirvana. He reveals the sutras, destroys wrong views, and subdues demons. His influence extends boundlessly in the 10 quarters. The Buddha is the king of Dharma. His virtue surpasses that of all sages. He is the teacher of all devas, humans, and enables them to enter on the way according to their wishes. Having been able to meet you, O Buddha, and also to hear the name of Amitas, we have all attained by the joy of illumination. Buddha said to Maitreya, "What you say is true. Those who adore and revere a Buddha attains great merit. Buddhas very rarely appear on the world. Having become a Buddha in this life, I have taught the Dharma, expounded teachings, the way, and clarified people's doubts, eradicated the cause of lust, desire, and blocked the source of all evils. Visiting various places in the 3 worlds, I encountered no obstructions. The wisdom disclosed in the scriptures provide all ways of life. It keeps essential principles together and clearly reveals the truth. I have explained the reality of 5 realms, and thereby freely those who have not yet attained deliverance and distinguishing between the paths of samsara and nirvana. Maitreya, you should know that you have, for innumerable kalpas, been perfectly bodhisattva and, in all practices, Buddha, to save all sentient beings. Incalculable indeed is the number of beings who, under your guidance, have attained the way and reached nirvana. From time immemorial, you and all the devas and humans in the 10 quarters and the 4 groups of followers have been floundering in the 5 realms of samsara, undergoing indescribable troubles and afflictions, until you were born in this life. You too underwent endless cycles of birth and death. Now you have encountered a Buddha, listened to his expositions of the Dharma, and been able to learn from Amitas. What pleasure and joy this is for you, and for me to share with you. It is time for all to seek deliverance from the pains of birth, death, old age, and sickness. Outflows of depravity and defilement are everywhere, and old age, and there is nothing in which you can find true joy. You should resolutely do worthy deeds with decorum, strive to do more good, control and purify yourselves, wash off the minds of defilement, be sincere in the word and deed, and allow no contradictions between what you think and what you do. Seek your own emancipation and then turn to saving others. Straightforwardly aspire to be born in the Pure Land and accumulate roots of virtues. However hard you may practice in this life, it can only be for a short time. In the life to come, you will be born in the land of Amitus and enjoy endless bliss, and there being forever in accord with the way, you will no longer be subject to this and be free from afflictions caused by greed, anger, and stupidity. If you wish your life to be as long as a kalpa, hundreds of kalpas, 10 million kalpas, it will be just as you please. You will dwell in effortless spontaneity and attain nirvana. You should each diligently seek to realize your aspirations. Do not entertain any doubt or give up your endeavor, lest us result that fault you should be born into the 7-jeweled palace in the border of the region of the Pure Land and be subject to various disadvantages for 500 years. Maitreya said to Buddha, having received your considerate admonition, we will diligently practice the way and follow your teachings. We will not allow any doubt to arise. So when you hear me teach, that's the first time I've read that, so that might be interesting. And actually it's the first time, but as you listen to my teachings, verbatim, it's what I teach, because it's what we teach each other. If you enter into the Sangha, the way, you enter into the Dharma, you enter into the teaching field, yeah? The Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, yeah? The Dharma, the Buddha, those are the teachings. That's the teaching, yeah? Teaching the Dharma, practicing the Dharma, yeah? Instilling the Dharma, carrying out the practice of the Dharma, yeah? All of that is initiated by Buddha. And that Dharma is for you to receive, yeah? But you have to practice it, yeah? So it requires all of this, everything that I'm saying, and part of that relationship of here I give this teaching, which is a direct teaching from Sakyamuni to me, yeah, and to all the world, yeah. But it's not one. If you even went to Tibet, you wouldn't find those teachings, yeah. And even if you went to Tibet, you wouldn't find the teaching saying that Gautama Buddha on his deathbed said that there would become a Messiah and he wasn't really the one that you should be focusing on. That it's the next Buddha that will be the one who turns the wheel and accomplishes the process of moving everybody on the way and establishing the Buddha field on earth. And you can see the Buddha field making manifest right now. We're all interested in the environment. We're all changing our diets. We're all becoming minimalist. Everybody's being judged for being famous, for being rich, for being what they are. And that is the way. That's the way. We have to accept this, because there is law. Law is the teaching. It's not about law under a policeman or things like that, but it's under Buddha. And Buddha established the law by being Buddha. And just being Buddha is the part of being, how you can be free, yeah? How you can attain Buddhahood, how you can go from bodhicitta to bodhisattva, just like Sakyamuni. I followed him all along. He was a much different person as he evolved and became the incarnation of Sakyamuni Buddha, yeah? But that took many, 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 many incarnations as a bodhicitta, yeah? Not as a bodhisattva, but a bodhicitta, and then a bodhisattva, and then a bodhisattva that is going to, in that life, attain Buddhahood. Yeah? And attaining Buddhahood in one life isn't an accomplishment. That isn't the fulfillment of everything. The fulfillment is attaining the same compassion of Maitreya and not being detached and allowing yourself to reincarnate without rules. Not attached to what my mother's name is, what family am I born in. I'm not attached. Just throw the cards down. And I will pop up. And I will take over my own situation. Because I follow the way. And that's for every one of us. We come from our past karma. And it sucks. I have really good karma. But my karma was with Tibetan Buddhism and Christianity. And they got really bad karma. Yeah, so that made a very big space between me and both those groups. Yeah, where I'm kind of like only in my own world or something. Yeah, but it's the way. It's the practice of the way. Yeah, so that's my teaching for the day. So now, and I'm going to do this invocation today. Just repeat this with me. It's the invocation of the Ashram soul monad. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. to clarify and stimulate my mind, to transform and transmute my feelings and emotions, to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body, so there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, so if you really do start reading really holy things, you're going to find God has a name, and it's called Mother, Father, God. Yod-He, Vod-He. Yeah? Yod-He, Vod-He. Mother, Father, God. Yeah? And then in other teachings, whether it be Hindu teachings or other, they say, Mother, Father, God, divine hermaphrodite. Yeah? In order to, not allude to, well, how can you say that? Well, you split the guy in half. He's literally one side boy, one side girl, or whatever way you want to see. But in that one person is all of humanity in male, female form. So there's a compassion understanding. That is only because of detachment, free will. Detachment, free will. You can't offer free will, not honestly, unless you're a Buddha who's detached. Yeah? And then from that, comes the way, which is the Dharma way, an action. And you have no idea, like we may literally think, wow, we're all doctors and we can fix and mend everything and we can build everything and go to space and we can land rockets, butt down without crashing. Whoa, we're really something else. But what if that is the way? What if that is just the way? It happens to be what is brought to humanity, not something that's big. Just something that's brought to humanity. So we can move forward in many different things, yeah? But things we don't expect. Like a lot of times, we never expected a spaceship to land. Only in movies, only in cartoons, If it could happen, it could save us so much money and be so much control and engineering ability and all this physics ability would have to be achieved, and computers and everything would have to be fulfilled. Well, it was fulfilled. Not just by one company, but two major companies that do that sort of work. Both got to the position of being able to land and reuse rockets. That's the highest engineering of what we got going on the planet, all under my direction, that this is the way. Don't go with these limited things of expectations when you're attached and you think you know the way it's going to work, the way it is. You're not getting the teacher, because the teacher is the way. Yeah, and you're going to find out that, even though we do all that, we may not even want to go there. Yeah, because we're just fulfilling the actions of the way. We're getting rid of our lack of ability to take care of the earth. We're gaining new technologies. Out of this, we're going to get all kinds of solar, new batteries, electric cars, robots, new computer systems, AI, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be part of the way. Yeah? And because we're going to step aside. And many things are going to be in charge, and it's not us. And we have to let go of thinking we have to own a house, we have to own a car, we have to own, like myself. You would think, if I was like other people, I would have a closet filled with clothes. All these shirts and all these different kinds of T-shirts and different color socks and different kinds of shoes for different activities, and, different hats for different occasions, and all these different things, But really, and I actually don't. I only use my closet for these clothes, for this, and this shirt. That's it, and a couple white pair of pants. and that's it. The rest of all my clothing is a blue pair of pants and a blue t-shirt with my symbols written on it, with Christ on the back and love and, compassion, empathy, all these things that are written on my chest that are on my clothes. Every single day I wear this. I have no interest whatsoever of another way. You get it? It's my way, but it is Buddha's way, and you're going to have to learn this way. Yeah, I slowly but surely have no homes. I provide homes. I have no homes. I can have a home in Hawaii, but that home is there for the purpose of others. I could bring other family people who would never get to be able to go to Hawaii, people who are very lost in their emotions, lost in their lack of ability to believe in themselves and feel secure about themselves and get away. I have that as a retreat, as a holy retreat for any member of the Sangha and other people that need that, even ourselves. It's a retreat. So I'm not attached to being there, even though, my God, it's a house in Hawaii. You got to be kidding me. You ought to be living there. Somebody ought to be, but I'm not attached. I go through that without any problem. None. And then there's another house in Hidden Valley. And that house is a holy house that was originally given before I could build this monastery, and I made it sacred. It was given to me by the nicest people, and I bought it. I had to go through the process of paying for it and all that. It took a long time. But that is offered over to the Sangha or anybody else in the family who needs a place as a retreat, a place on weekends where the Sangha goes to swim and go out to the lake, get on a boat, get into a hot tub and relax. It's not my house. It's not my house, even though I'm the one blessed enough to get it. But it's not my house. I use it as an opportunity for people, and it's no problem. I would sell that house and let it go, except it serves other people, not me. That's not the reason why I would hold on to it, because it serves some purpose for me. It doesn't. It serves a purpose because I know people who need it. So, and I built it. I actually did a lot of work on it for other people who needed it and hardly had any time to use it, but it blessed them to such a high degree that it changed the outcome in life for their future life. And it brought them back to that house. That's powerful. That's powerful. And this all happens through unattachment and Buddha consciousness. It's the way. It's how things come about. But you live in a world of karma, people. And you're going to die shitty deaths. You're going to be afraid up to the moment you die and when you die. Because you didn't prepare yourself. You didn't go the way. You have to go the way. And the way is that there is no attachment to this life. This life is temporary. When you go is when you go. When you come back is when you come back. And if you're not practicing the Dharma, coming back is not that nice. It just repeats itself. So everything is based on this. And yep, that's what I have to say. So now we're going to do puja. or know my mother. I use a body. That body is not me. I serve the group, and in this serving live within the body, detached, a son of God. I know myself. I infuse a body. I am its life, and in that life shall I see life. That life is known as love. I am the love of God. I know the Father, and I know His life is love. I am the body and its loving life. I am the self whose quality is love. I am the life of God Himself. The Mother, Father, Son am I. Behind these three stands the unknown God. That God am I. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men and women, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, we call the race of mankind. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. The aspects of love of God. 7. sevenfold the work, seven the energies, and sevenfold the path back to the center of peace. Let the disciple live in love and love in life. The soul is the Son of God, a product of the union of spirit and matter. The soul is an embodiment of consciousness of mind, the expression of divine intelligent awareness. Vibrating in unison with one of the 7 ray lives and colored by a particular ray of light. The personality of the soul is the embodiment of love, applied intelligently, producing an attractive form which will serve to express that loving intelligence. The soul is intended to be the embodiment of divine purpose, applied in great active creativity, produces the power of creative love. We are born of the love of Father for the Mother, of the desire of life for form. Express the love, the magnetic attractiveness of God's nature and the responsiveness of form nature, and the I am consciousness itself of the awareness of deity in life. Okay, just relax. So, don't mind me. So the process of listening to my pujas is that you need to be detached. And you have to realize that you should be in a guru reality. Yeah, I'm the guru. Yeah, and you should be in guru yoga. Yeah, you should be aware of this. Like when Gautama is talking to Maitreya, the more those people understand Buddha's Buddha and what all that effect has as a possibility, because Buddha's mind is in the Buddha field, and all the things that are of Buddha are in Buddha. So the Buddha field, if Buddha's incarnated, you're in the Buddha land. The only thing you ask, if you study Buddhism, the only thing you ask is that you do your best to practice the path, so that when a Buddha incarnates, you could be there, because that requires karma, good karma, yeah, for you to be incarnated at this time, yeah, to be even in the process of me handing out weavers and sandwiches and all the things that I do and change the world, yeah. That's because of the practice, the path. But it doesn't mean that it's stable. It means that it has a lot of things that are gathered. So we had the hippie movement, had the peace movement, had human rights movements. We have all that going on constantly because we're seeking the path. Yeah, all the hippie movement was based on Dharma. Yeah, the principles of Dharma. Everybody in it was based on the principles of Dharma. Everybody had a Buddha in their home. All this kind of stuff is going on. So everybody reincarnates from that process. Yeah, and we're all here from that process. And everybody who's coming is coming because they're students in potential of that process. So when you listen to my pujas, you have to take them with the ability to understand they're meant for me. They're meant for me. It's a way, like if you just listen to the last one, word for word, I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about myself, not you. There's no aspect of you whatsoever in that puja. It's all about me, who I am, that I incarnated. I take a body, and, this and that. And sure, you take a body, yeah. But that's not the same. You need to get on the path and enter this process so that you can have the effect of receiving these pujas with their ability, your ability to be able to hear them with the right kind of majesty. That because the Buddha is the king of the world. It's it's going to overthrow the process of Lucifer, the process of the kingdom of lower nature, the process of people able to do things that are not good, and transformed into being able to do things that are good, and it's your nature that's going to do that, and that nature comes from your guru, so you're being taught Buddhism right now, and I'm teaching you about all past my lives and all that, but that helps you better understand the fact that you have a long process of more lives. And while you're in this life, you have to give it all, and so that when you take your first breath in your next life, you're initiated in the right step, and the way continues, It's still going to have shit going on. There still may be nuclear wars. There still may be all kinds of stuff. But if you practice now, and while I'm still alive and I'm getting out these teachings forever, you will be attuned to them. And you'll step right back onto the path of the way. And you may only be 1 year old, and you can find the way. Because I'm here. And I remain here. That's the difference between Maitreya Buddha and all other Buddhas. All other Buddhas were bodhisattvas just in the process of becoming a Buddha. So they only were aware of nirvana, taking care of samsara, and ending the incarnated process of taking incarnation. Go off into the kalpa process of many, many kalpas in the pure land of bliss and in Buddhahood and nirvana. But that's their teachings. That's not mine. Yeah. And I'm the guy that does the teaching. You know. So this is a totally different place, and it's going to take me forever to get this teaching across and get everybody to take on the path. And it's not a religion, it's persistence. Yeah? I am going to reincarnate, and I'm saying this over and over. Yeah? No other Buddha said that. No Dalai Lama is saying this. Nobody's saying it because they don't want to come back. The Dalai Lama doesn't want to come back. Yeah? Jesus didn't say he was coming right back. He said, I don't know, maybe. I'm going to try. You know, I'm sure in the future I will. You know, be ready whenever that happens. I'm going to try. You know, but it's a matter of gaining the path and putting people on the path. You know, so that you can go on the path. Because this is Guru Yoga. This is yoga, people. Yoga. We are not in a real world. You're not in a real world. All your emotions are attached to bullshit that doesn't exist. People, places, and things. They don't exist. They could be gone tomorrow. Yeah? Houses, everything. Yeah? Accept what you have. Yeah? Be at peace. You know, give thanks. And share and care and do what you can to stay minimal and need less. Every day, need less. Yeah? Okay? Enjoy. Thank you.